Hey guys, how we doing tonight? I understand this video is a lot different than my gameplay videos because honestly, something I wanted to do when I started my YouTube channel was basically have little storytime videos like this because I grew up watching a lot of storytime channels. So I eventually wanted to do my own. So here we are. And basically today, guys, I'm going to be telling you about my Crash Out middle school and Crash Out high school experiences because oh my gosh, the schools I went to were home to a lot of them. So we're gonna start from basically my least crash out moment I can remember off the top of my head to the most crash out moment I can remember on the top of my head, which ranges from people doing weird fucking sexual shit to fucking starting fights for no reason. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's start with the first instance of people being crash outs for no reason. This one starts in Crash Out Middle School. Now, I gotta admit, looking back on this, I probably should have seen this one coming, and I don't understand how deserved it was. It was probably also deserved, but it was also kind of messed up. So I had a friend in my middle school years who basically was my friend from elementary school in the third grade up until the pandemic happened in 2020. Now, this kid, let's call him Anthony. Anthony was basically your average angsty teen. However, he was an angsty teen in elementary school as well, which made no freaking sense. He was also that I hate women type guy. Women are only there to take out your heart and stomp on it. So you can imagine not a fun guy to be around. But he never really did anything to me personally until, the incident I'm about to tell you guys about. So I didn't really say much of anything, and I'm like, he's nice to me, so where's the problem? I would go on to soon learn the problem on this day. So this was a couple days until the shutdown happened, where the school had decided, all right, if these kids are going to be stuck home for quarantine, we're going to give them school issued Chromebooks so even students who don't have their own personal computer can have a way to do their schoolwork online. And this kid, Anthony, was so angry over that for no good reason. Because I'm sitting here like, this means you just don't have to waste precious space on your own personal computer that could be used for games. But whatever, Anthony. So he's walking around, and I feel kind of bad because I see him angry and I don't like it. However, he's glaring at me for no reason after he comes up to me and he's mad over those stupid Chromebooks. So I don't like it. Not to mention he has this yee ass blue hoodie on that makes him look like Sans from Undertale, and it didn't help that he had the hood pulled over. So he looked like your average cut my life to pieces. This is my last resort emo kid you would see in the early 2000s in high schools, which, I thought was funny as hell. He didn't. So this guy proceeds to grab me by the throat and fucking choke me against the wall. And it was bad because my friends Devin and Tucker were there and they're like, holy shit, let's pull Zach off him. They pulled him off because I'm pretty sure they knew dang well if this had gone on for a couple more minutes, I would have gotten in trouble for a fight and I probably would have been suspended for kicking Zach's ass because you know how schools are who only, have teachers run and jump in on the situation once, the kid who is being bullied fights back. But I digress. Basically, after that, the next day he comes to me, he apologized and looks and it's like, look, man, I'm just angry about those stupid fucking Chromebooks. I'm sorry, man. Can we just keep being friends? And in my head, I'm thinking, whatever, sure, let's continue to be friends. Now, that's what I was thinking in my head at first, I should say. But then the rational part of my mind kicks in and says, what the fuck? He gets off with, I'm sorry. He just choked you against the wall in front of your fucking friends. Hell no. So I proceeded to tell him to fuck off, and that is the last time I ever see or hear from this douchebag for my life all the way up until now. Unless you want to count that one time he proceeded to send me and a bunch of my middle school friends this mass email saying, "Gentlemen, this is the one time we have to do absolutely fucking nothing, so don't fuck it up." But little did he not know is that he had to do 70% of the ingenuity in order to pass the eighth grade, which he did not, and he ended up failing. And I don't know what middle school he went to or what high school he went to. I'm thinking he probably got expelled, which I would not be surprised. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. Let's talk about the middle school locker rooms. Oh my gosh. Where do I begin? We can talk about how people would grab the trash cans and throw them over the stall doors while you were trying to take a piss. We can talk about how they would take your book bags under there and call you a pussy for not changing in front of everyone, which I'm sorry, but I don't want to be stared at by everyone in the fucking locker room because I have chest hair because I was the only person who had it because puberty hit me like a fucking truck in the third grade. The third grade! The grade where you're supposed to be learning your multiplication tables and shit. Yeah. So, I didn't want to be stared at like I was an animal in a fucking zoo. So I basically decided to stay under there and people would snatch my bag. But oh my gosh, that was nothing compared to the stupid pranks that would happen inside of my gym locker room in middle school. Now, because we're in middle school, this was around the seventh grade when this happened the most. You could tell people were just wannabe pranksters and gangsters because they would put what other people thought were used condoms in the walls and in the fucking lockers. And they would like tape them on the stall doors as well. And basically, they had stuff in there that looked suspiciously like another substance. But me recognizing it instantly realizes this is just people trying to be funny, which they're not. It's disgusting. It's just Vaseline and, fucking lotion. It's not, what you would think it is. So I just thought it was really fucking gross. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is some kids, or at least the dudes who weren't disgusted by it, would take it and throw it at people. And I shit you not. This one kid who was on the middle school seventh grade football team decides to throw an absolute piss missile of a condom filled with fucking Aveeno lotion and Vaseline directly at my head. And this kid's going like, "Oh shit," and his buddies are laughing. And a technique that I mastered in high school, but was starting to develop in the seventh grade of middle school is a death stare. Because I realized that a lot of these people were wannabe gangsters and pranksters. So I just realized all it really took was one good glare to shut them the hell up. So that's what I did, and they never tried that shit with me again. They would still throw it at other people, though. Oh my gosh. But yeah. Next, let's go on to Crashout High School once more. Or is it? I don't know. Did I talk about the high school or middle school experience? Oh, right. We're on to the high school experience. Um, so there were two people that I had in the same health class as me in my sophomore year. We're gonna call them Kane and Drake. Now, Kane and Drake were those two friends, or in my case, acquaintances. Y'all ever had that one friend who made so many gay jokes to the point where you're like, okay, is bro joking or is he actually gay? Like, is there something I should know about? But yeah. Anyways, I'm not really thinking too much about it because I've had plenty of friends like that, and I will admit sometimes I was that friend. But basically, I hear these two guys, Kane and Drake, making fucking cock jokes in the locker room, even where he's like, "We'll whip it out then," because I hear Drake say that, and then Kane doesn't say anything, but I see Drake fucking pull out his phone and take a picture which I'm pretty sure also has meat in it. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. And I turn to my right, I see Kane with his meat out. Like that shit's not even subtle. He has it all hanging out, drooping. It's disgusting and it was burned into my fucking memory. And I see that and I'm ready to throw up, but then I realize, oh shit, I'm probably in the fucking picture. And I turn around to Drake and I'm like, you're gonna fucking delete that picture if I'm in it. And then he pays me no mind because he's paying attention to his phone or whatever, probably on Instagram, posting that shit. Like a fucking gross ass sophomore he is. And then I'm like, yo, you fucking deaf? Delete that fucking picture if I'm in it. And he's like, you're not in the fucking picture. And I grab his phone and I see the post and I'm like hell I'm not. You're gonna delete that shit now. And he's like, give me my fucking phone. I push him against the locker and I delete it myself and I give him back his phone and I basically yell at him, fuck you, and I leave the locker room after the bell rings and we're allowed to walk out of there. Oh my gosh, that was disgusting. Believe me, I've had the unfortunate experience many times where I went to piss in a stall because I want someone staring at me while I piss in the urinal like these people actually fucking did, only to have to sit there mid shit or piss and hear someone stroking their shit in the stall next to me. But anyways, back to Crashout Middle School, where we will be going on to the final story of this video, and possibly the most Crashout story. Now, in middle school, I had this girl I had a crush on since elementary school, which, ended up turning into a week-long relationship in the seventh grade, which amounted to nothing, only for her to break up and then start behaving like an asshole to the point where I cut her off. But anyways, sixth grade, before, the love of my life at the time realized she was rightfully mine, which I probably should have backed off 'cause she had a boyfriend at the time, but it's whatever, I guess. Middle schoolers will be middle schoolers. Guys will fight over any girl for some fucking reason, and I was no exception. So one day we're on the bus route home because she's on the same bus route as me when three friends, we're gonna call him Trayvon, Trayvon's cousin, and Marcus. Basically, three people on the school bus who were crash outs for no good reason. And they would yell, they would throw stuff, they would just be obnoxious. And, you know, let's give you the rundown here. We had Marcus, the big, tall athlete who had no social skills but absolutely thought he was the shit. Trayvon, the stupid ass little boy who spends way too much time on Fortnite and should probably be spending more time studying because I heard a rumor he failed the seventh grade. And then we got Trayvon's cousin, and she was your typical mean, spoiled, rich girl who was extra for no reason. And the one time you try to say, be quiet, she's like, you're just mad that I don't like you or something. That type of girl. The one no one likes, really. So, anyways, they start harassing the girl I like. We'll call her Kristen. Christine or something like that. And I don't like that. So I'm like, can y'all shut up? You're annoying. And basically, Marcus, the big tall athlete dude, gets up. And then Trayvon and his stupid fucking cousin start fucking laughing their asses off and like, you just gonna take that, Marcus? You just gonna take it? And he's like, what'd you say to me? I said, shut up. And then he hits me with that Miles Morales surprise face. The one where he has his mouth wide open in an O shape, his eyes are wide as hell, and he has both hands on either side of his head. That's what he looks like. And basically, I walk off the bus and I'm ready to walk Christine home to her house before I eventually go to mine. But then I hear this dude look out the window hollering as if he had delayed reaction and saying, like, what'd you say to me? And I'm like, oh, I was talking to you. Shut up. And basically he starts hollering, moving his head like the Gmod physics you see when a character screams his head off or freaks out in an SMG4 video. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking it's funny as hell. Christine's thinking it's funny as hell too, because we're both laughing together as we're walking back to our separate houses. And as if this dude could not make an even bigger fool out of himself, he somehow managed to pull it off because as the bus was driving by, it passed a tree and the tree branch smacked his ass. And I heard laughter coming from the bus, and I'm like, damn, this kid really got clowned. But little did I realize I would pay very dearly for that the next day. Because, yeah, I get on the bus the next morning. Christine's walking to her seat in the back, and I decided to go follow. But Marcus gets up and basically looks at me and starts talking about something, which I didn't understand because it was in the morning. I was tired. I wasn't trying to deal with anyone's bullshit. But looking back on it, he was probably talking some. I appreciate how you basically made a fool of me yesterday, which he did to himself, really. And people already think he's stupid. So in reality, he fucked up his reputation even more. So womp womp, Marcus, whatever. But he's in the way, and I'm like, can you move? I'm not trying to deal with you. And he says, make me move. Now, when you grow up in middle schools and high schools that have a lot of fights, you realize that make me move is basically a prelude to I want to box. I didn't know because this is what you would call my first ever school fight I had ever been in. So I'm like, yo, fucking move, because I'm tired of that shit. I'm trying to go sit next to Christine, basically, try to shoot my shot for the millionth time, only to get denied once again. But bro's not moving. So I try to shove him out the way, which is a bad idea because this dude is twice my size. And from what I heard, he was an athlete at the time, which I don't know what coach would put his stupid entitled ass on the team, but whatever, I guess. You got to outsource the muscle. But basically, this guy, once I do that, he takes it as the cue of, oh, I got a box now. And oh my gosh, when I say this hook he hit me with was so devious, it was because I don't know how it managed to make not only me fall into the seat because he punched me in the head, mind you. For some reason, my bag did a 180 when it clipped against the seat as I fell and fell directly over my legs, which, mind you, I was a skinny, small ass kid then. This was before my training arc between the blue belt to black belt in martial arts to where I got bigger, I got stronger. But I was still kind of nice. So I'm thinking, oh, he gonna do that? Bet I'm gonna get back up and kick his ass in return. But the book bag's over my legs. I can't stand up and do shit because there's so much shit in my bag. And mind you, this was back when I still had a bunch of textbooks in my bag instead of the one Chromebook issued by the school in there. So I can't get up, and he's just wailing on me, punching me in the head over and over, and all I can do is do my little double cover where I throw both my arms up in front of my face so that he's punching my arms instead of my head until his friends decide to finally pull him off me, and the bus driver only calls the police. Which, fuck you, Miss Bus Driver, by the way, because you only called the police after they pulled him off. Aren't you supposed to break that fight up? But whatever, I guess they're not paid to do that, they're just paid to drive. So I'm thinking, the fight's done and over with, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my god, my parents are gonna kill me. I got into a school fight over a girl, which is the one thing they tell me they better not find out that I did. And I'm thinking it's done, and I'm worrying about that. And then I'm like hearing one of Marcus's friends being like, hey bro, what you got to say to Marcus? He just kicked your ass, man. And I'm like, shut the hell up. And Marcus gets up and decides he hasn't had enough yet. And he's coming behind me, so I don't see him. And he starts punching me. He gets 3 knocks to my head before the bus driver herself finally gets up off her ass and then sits the kid down in the far back. Then the cops come and tell me since I didn't do anything to the kid, he's getting suspended, but I'm fine. And they'll take me to the school, or my parents can come take me to the school. And I'm like, can you get my parents here so I can explain what happened to them? And basically, they allow me to sit in the car, which I'm thinking is pretty cool. It's pretty lit. I've always wanted to see the inside of a police car as someone who wanted to become a police officer when I grow up. Yeah, but I'm sitting there in the car, and the hype of seeing the interior of a police car in there slowly starts to fade away as I realize, damn, not only did I get my ass beat, but I couldn't get I couldn't even fight back. And I'm mad about that. And then the tears start welling up in my face, and I start crying like a little bitch boy because I just realized that I just got my ass beat. I couldn't do anything about it. And the worst part of it, the biggest L you could ever take, is I got beat up in front of my crush. I don't know how you take a bigger L than that in middle school. Believe me, if you guys have a bigger L you took in middle school, tell me in the comments because holy shit, that was the biggest L I have ever taken. But yeah, basically my parents come, my dad hears the whole spiel from the cops, and basically they tell him how I'm not getting in trouble because I didn't do anything and this kid attacked me unprovoked, and my dad's like, damn straight. And he's telling them how I have a first green belt and I could have whooped that guy's ass if he didn't take a cheap shot. But yeah, I'm sitting there, I get the day off from school and I forget about it the next day. But that's where I'm gonna call it quits for this video. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and who knows, maybe I'll drop some more lore in the next storytime video I do. But as for now, back to gaming content, and I will see you guys in the next upload.